Downtown, I got that heat, let's go. Downtown, I got that heat, let's go.
Let's see if we can get a sound check in here. Real quick before I begin the show, I just want to make sure that my audio is good. Make sure everything's plugged in and we're connected. So Spurs and Spence, if you guys could give me a little feedback, let me know that we are good for the go. I'm going to turn down the background music here for a second. Alright, solid. Alright, looks like the audio is good. Alright, now I'm going to just try to bring in my video feed. Let's see if it works. Alright, let's try this. Alright, is audio and video working on your guys' end? Alright, we'll try both now. Alright, the problem is I got 17 things I'm trying to manage. Doing all this alone is not easy. Alright, cool. I see Spurs and your comments showing up in the chat box, and then Spence, I see yours too. Alright, solid. Excellent. Although I can't see... I'm trying to look at this live chat through my phone. Okay, the live chat just updated. Alright, at least I can actually see it on the screen, and that's good. Okay, so, guys, welcome back to another edition of the podcast. I'm really trying to make this a weekly thing. I really want to do this with regularity. I don't want it to be, 2, 3, 4 weeks between my podcasts. I'm really trying to do this on a weekly basis. And I'm going to try to squeeze it in each weekend, because I think that could work. Either I could do it like Saturday afternoons, Saturday evenings, kind of like where we're at right now. Or it's maybe something I could do in Sunday, in the evening or something. But I just want to do this with regularity. I want it to be regular. I want it to be a weekly thing. I want to interact with you guys. I want to talk about the most important topics in the league, the association. I plan on doing some stuff with football when the season starts. I want to do the whole basketball thing, obviously, rounding out the regular season, go into the playoffs, so do some playoff edition pods. And I really want to integrate a call-in. So I'm going to create a Google Meet link. I'm going to share it within the live chat. And then, what I'll actually do is I probably need to make some moderators. You know what I mean? So I'm going to probably do that. I'm going to see if I can actually do that now while we're on stream. I think I can. Let's try that, actually. All right, let's do this. If I wanted to make... I think I can. Should be able to make you guys some mods, and then you guys can kind of manage the link, and obviously if there's any riffraff going on in the live chat, I should have some moderators. Okay, so there we go. Bingo. What up, D Scott? All right, Spurs, and we are going to add as a moderator. Alright, Spurzan is a mod. Spence, I'm going to make you a mod. Okay, standard moderator. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and add you guys just to hold it down in the live chat. Keeping everything cool. I guess you never know. Something could jump off. Okay, alright. And I'm really trying to figure out this chat box thing. I'm trying to get it to show up. Yeah, that should work. So your live chats should show up down here in the bottom right of the screen. Hopefully that's working. Looks like it. Okay. Alright, solid. And I'll be providing the link for the call-in once we get to that point. Alright, so here's what I want to do with the show. I want to talk hoops. I take pride on talking basketball on this show. Like the actual games. You know what I mean? I don't I know everybody gets caught up in like drama. You know, they get caught up in the whole like politics of the NBA. You know, and I don't want to act like I don't care at all. I mean, I care about what's happening in the NBA, but it's just so not important sometimes to just talk about like the personal riffraff that goes on in the league. Like, do I really want to talk about Ja Morant and his like crazy things with his fingers and hands? I don't want to talk about that so much as I want to talk about his potential lack of professionalism and talk about his future in the NBA as a star in the league, a star in the association, and how he's not really capturing this huge opportunity. Like, I could do that, you know what I mean? I'd like to do that, but I don't know, man. I don't want to make this about drama, like LeBron's personal life. Like, I don't care about that. Or, you know, Lonzo Ball's social media presence. I don't care about that. You know, I just want to talk hoops. If it has to do with the games, I'm all for it. You guys see I do videos on like film breakdown and you know, the way that players play and the way that outcomes of games and teams that are hot and underappreciated and undercelebrated. I want to do that stuff. This really is a thing that I want to take seriously with respect to the NBA. I just want to talk hoops. You know what I mean? And leave all that extracurricular stuff for the other guys. You know, whatever they do. The drama and stuff like that. What up, Goon? Yeah, I love talking hoops, Spurzan. I absolutely do. And I love talking about the teams that get no run on national media. I love talking about the Pistons. We're going to do that tonight. I love talking about, you know, the Cavs, who get absolutely no respect from anybody. I love talking about the Rockets, which we'll talk about tonight, because these teams are emerging. The Pacers, who would have thought we'd be talking about the Pacers at the end of the season and how good they are? You know what I mean? What up, Elliot? All right. I love talking hoops. All right. So what we'll do is, let's take a look at the standings in the NBA. And the reason why I want to take a look at the standings is you might not have seen some things that have been changing. All right, so I want to start first with the Western Conference. All right, no surprises. The Oklahoma City Thunder are number one. They are 64-13. They're probably going to finish with the best record in, like, team history. I don't know. Have they had a season where they had more than 64 wins? I'm not sure. Maybe, because there was a time where they had like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, all kind of in like their prime, physical prime, in their younger years. Maybe there were some years where they had a 65-win season or something, possibly. But they're probably going to finish the season with the best record in the NBA and the best record in franchise history. If it's not the best ever in their franchise history, it's probably very, very close. The Rockets are number two. And unfortunately for them, the Thunder exist. Or else the Rockets are the best story in the Western Conference. And the Rockets are really damn good. And I'm going to talk about some of their players. I'm going to talk about their coach. And actually, we could do the same thing for the Thunder. We really do need to talk about their coach, their supporting cast with SGA. We're going to talk the Lakers. They are third in the West. The Lakers are a good team. They have good players. JJ Redick actually is not as bad a coach as I believed. It looks to me like he's actually a decent coach. It doesn't mean he's better than Darvin Ham. It doesn't mean that they upgraded from firing Ham or anything. I'm just saying he's not as bad as I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a train wreck. And there have been moments this year where he has looked really bad. But I mean, I think he's learned from a lot of his mistakes. I think he's gotten better. So I'll admit I was wrong. He is not the worst coach in the league. I think he's a decent coach, actually. I think he's got a tough job, right? But he does have a lot of great assistants on his staff, and he's got a good support system there. We're going to talk Nuggets. I don't know how you talk the NBA without talking about Joker and the Nuggets. Joker's amazing. If he ends up winning MVP, I'm good with it. If he ends up finishing second in MVP and Shea wins it, I'm good with it too. The Warriors and the Nuggets are actually my dark horses for the Western Conference Finals. I'm hoping it's either the Thunder or the Rockets, but I think the other two teams that can get to the Western Conference Finals are the Warriors and the Nuggets. I feel stronger about the Nuggets, but I'm starting to come around to the Warriors. Outside of those teams I just named, and actually, I don't think the Lakers have a good chance to get to the Western Conference Finals. Out of all the teams I've spoken to, the top 5 teams, the Lakers, in my opinion, are the least likely to get to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they're likely to get there. I think the Warriors have a better chance. I think the Nuggets definitely do. I think the Rockets have a better chance, and 100%, I think the Thunder are basically a lock to get to the Western Conference Finals. When teams get to the Western Conference Finals, though, that's where things, it's just a different game. There's more gravity to each game, right? There's more asked for the great players to do, and that kind of stuff. So, like, I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. We're going to talk the Eastern Conference as well, but I want to start first with the Western Conference. All right. I want to start with the Lakers. All right. Where do the Lakers stand? And who are the LA Lakers? All right. Pictured on the screen, you see JJ Redick, and then you got their stars. LeBron James, obviously, still basically the face of the NBA in his 22nd season. I have a problem with that. But that's not what this segment's actually going to be about. It's mostly about Luka, LeBron, and the Lakers roster, and the roster construction and how they're going to perform in the playoffs. JJ Redick is trying to create an offense that is sustainable, and it's up to this point, in my opinion, it's been hard for him to do because he's had Luka out of shape, new to the team. He's been shooting poorly from 3 since he got to LA. Some games he's hot, some games he's not. Let's just call it inconsistent Luka. And then LeBron, who in the first half of the year actually wasn't playing that great, in my opinion. I think defensively he was lazy. I think his effort was weak in a lot of games. Offensively, he seemed engaged, but that's not what the team needed. And I think in the front half of the year, they took advantage of a weak schedule, playing teams that were without their best players, and it gave them a decent record. It made them look like they were better than what they were. But in January, and then into basically the full month of February, the Lakers actually were really, really good. Their defense was really, really good. And then obviously the trade with Luka, it kind of changed the roster dynamics and, moving AD to Dallas and all that. But from January and through February, the Lakers defense was actually very, very good. And that's why the team was playing better. And that's why the record showed. And that's why they were actually beating good teams and not just beating the bottom feeder teams. So I started to kind of warm up to this idea that maybe the Lakers are actually good because their defensive efforts and their defensive execution was actually good. So I gave JJ Redick his props for that. And I gave LeBron his props for that. LeBron all of a sudden was catapulted into the MVP discussion at some point, like right before his injury. And I'm not buying it. Like, I don't think you could win the MVP because you had a good month or two. Like, you can be the MVP of January. You could be the NBA Player of the Month or whatever in the Western Conference. You could be the MVP of February if you want. Go ahead, you can have that. But you can't win the MVP because of a couple of good months, 6, 7, 8 weeks of good play. That's not how that works. LeBron being in the top 5 for MVP ladder, that key MVP ladder, was a complete disservice to SGA. It was absolutely disrespectful to Joker, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Giannis. Those guys have been playing elite level basketball all season long. But to put LeBron in there after 2 good months was blatantly disrespectful, in my opinion. And I really did not appreciate that as an NBA fan. It just felt really disingenuous. And I made videos on that and I discussed it in a previous podcast. But the Lakers, as it currently stands, the way their roster is constructed, the way their offense looks, and how it's like hot and cold. Guys, the Lakers can go from like scoring 40 points in a quarter to scoring 21 points in a quarter. Like, it's crazy. That's because of Luka. Luka, when he's on, raises the ceiling of the Lakers offense. Running those lobs to what's his name? To Jackson Hayes. When his shot is falling, when the threes are going down. When he's feeling it offensively. When he's finding guys, when he's not turning the ball over. The Lakers' ceiling offensively is very high. When LeBron is knocking down his shots, when he's shooting well, their ceiling is high. But when those two, or one of those two, are not on, they're very, very average offensively. And that's because their team offense, as its philosophy and the way that it's constructed and how they run action, it's really simple. And it's predicated around mostly isolations. They try to create a little bit of space. They try to get a little bit of like pick and roll and some screens and stuff to free guys up and get guys some space. But it's not really that dynamic. And the proof of that is if you watch the end of games, you'll notice it. It becomes disjointed. They fall back on iso ball. A simple screen. They just try to get a little space for someone to operate. Austin Reeves or LeBron or Luka. And if one person is isolating, the rest of them are basically doing nothing. So they're putting all their ducks in a row. They're putting all their eggs into one basket in an offensive possession with an isolation. And when that doesn't work, they don't score. So that's how I've been kind of watching and observing and seeing the Lakers offense defensively. It's one of those things. They're inconsistent. So if you look at the top teams in rebounding, the Lakers are nowhere to be found. They're like middle of the road. Total rebounds, offensive rebounds. So they basically have to rely on making their shots because they don't get a lot of offensive rebounds. There were a couple games where I think Jackson Hayes really helped them out there. And shout out to Gabe Vincent for being a willing offensive rebounder, poking the ball away, trying to keep it alive, getting additional possessions. I see Rui do it sometimes, that kind of thing. But the Lakers don't do anything spectacular when it comes to offensive rebounds or even defensive rebounding. They're not in the top ranks, so for them to be good, they have to be good defensively, right? And the Lakers are a top 5 defense actually since the All-Star break. I'm telling you guys, from January through February, and even in stretches in March, the Lakers defense was playing really well. They are a top 5 defensively ranked team in the NBA. But their offensive rating is not great. There are several games in the last 10, 15, 20 games since Luka's got there where the Lakers had trouble scoring 105 points. And when their opponents are scoring 115, 125. I have the least conviction about the Lakers when it comes to the Western Conference. In my opinion, out of the top 5 or 6 teams, they are the least likely to get to the Western Conference Finals. And it's not because of the supporting cast. Rui's fantastic. Don't let anybody tell you Rui's not a good player. Rui Hachimura is very good. Gabe Vincent is a decent player. Don't expect too much from him. Austin Reeves is fantastic. Do you know what NBA general managers would do for Austin Reeves, a guy like that, to just fall in your lap as a draft pick? Like, look what he can do for you offensively. He's a good shooter. He's a willing shot taker. He's really good off the dribble. And he's a fantastic slasher, like getting to the rim, finishing, making free throws. He gives them an option. Like, there were times where LeBron was out, Austin Reeves was carrying when Luka was down, like when he was resting or whatever. He ran the offense. Rui is fantastic. Austin Reeves is fantastic. And then you got your 2 stars. And I don't want to downplay. I've been hard on DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith. Some games he's good and some games he's bad. He's always a willing defender. I want to give him that respect. But offensively, he could be kind of sometimes there and sometimes not. Jackson Hayes, he's doing everything they're asking him to. The rim rolls with Luka, that works sometimes. Defensively, I'm sure he's doing his best. Dalton Connect is a non-factor. They don't even play him anymore. Now that LeBron is back and everybody's kind of healthy. Goodwin's been decent. You know, they've had nights where guys are doing enough to help them win, but these two guys right here, down here on the screen, when the Lakers don't win, it's one or both of their fault. The supporting cast is not going to win you games. How much can you actually expect from your bench players? And by the way, the Lakers bench, weak. Generally speaking, there's 15 other teams with a better bench. But these guys got to do more. I mean, everybody says LeBron's still this amazing offensive talent at this point in his career. Well, then show me. Ever since he's come back from injury, he's been shooting poorly. He's had one decent game where he's shot well, the most recent one against the Warriors. Luka, he's been shooting poorly since he got to LA. His three-point shooting percentage has been poor. How many games he's gone 0 for 7 from 3, 1 for 7 from 3, 0 for 5 from 3. Yeah, I mean, it's got to get better. It can't get any worse. Maybe you should just take less of them. Maybe you should respect the possessions more. I think he could take better care of the ball. I think his turnover rate is too high. I don't care if you get 9 assists. You should not have 6 turnovers. How is that okay? Respect the possessions. Don't turn over the ball. Take care of it. If you're getting 9 assists, how about we cut down your turnovers to 2? Or even 3? It's the same thing I said about LeBron earlier in the season. How the hell are you going to have 11 turnovers? How the hell are you going to have 8 turnovers? Got to take care of the ball better. When the Lakers take care of the ball and play defense, they win. I just don't know if they can consistently do that because they haven't been doing it as much in the last couple weeks as they previously were. So what's the real LA Lakers, in my opinion? They're like the weather, you know. Sometimes it's sun is shining and it's clear skies, and other times it's thunderstorms, rain, and it's cloudy. The Lakers are up and down because the Lakers roster, while it is good, it's not a championship roster. There are teams out west that have more complete rosters with more defined roles from their players. In my opinion, the Denver Nuggets have a better situation, a better roster with Joker as the lead and with his supporting cast complementing him. I like Aaron Gordon. I like Jamal Murray. I like MPJ. I like Russ. I like that whole collective. I like Michael Malone better than I like JJ Redick. The Nuggets are more likely to get to the Western Conference Finals than the Lakers, in my opinion. The Golden State Warriors, too. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. All right. So why do I want to talk about the Golden State Warriors after discussing the LA Lakers? Well, the Warriors just kicked their ass. And I know the score wasn't a blowout or anything like that, but the Golden State Warriors were doing whatever the hell they wanted. So there's a guy for the Golden State Warriors. And I don't know how much of the Warriors you guys watch, but Brandon Podzinski? That kid is good. I mean, I've been watching him all year whenever I watch the Warriors, but he's really come along. Like, he was knocking down shots, fearlessly taking and making threes. And a little bit of Moses Moody. Jonathan Kuminga was really good against the Lakers. Jimmy was being Jimmy, right? Having his spots where he could get some buckets at the rim. You know, working his magic kind of like in between the perimeter and the paint. That's kind of like his area. Defensively, he was very good. Draymond Green was excellent defensively. Came up with some huge plays. Doing all the dirty work. You know, he's Draymond. Like, that's his calling card, his defense. And then Steph was so impactful on so many levels. He was basically every time he touched the ball, the Lakers were sending doubles. The Lakers were like, yo, where's Steph? They were always monitoring, watching, tracking Steph Curry. And he had a good game too. And shout out to Steve Kerr for finding his lineups, finding his rotations, figuring out who's who on the roster and who's going to do what for the team. A lot of people have been really down on Steve Kerr since they've last won their finals. Everybody's calling him a fraud. He doesn't know what he's doing. Looks to me like Steve Kerr actually does know what he's doing. He's proved a lot of people wrong. he's got the Warriors in the thick of things in the Western Conference. So, in my opinion, the Lakers are the least likely to get to the Western Conference Finals out of these like top 6 or so teams. I think the Warriors are a dark horse to get to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not going to say they're my favorite. I think the Warriors are the type of team that could lose in the second round. The Warriors are all of a sudden very good defensively, which is why I give them a chance, right? I was talking about how the Lakers were a top 5 defense since the All-Star break. The Warriors are a top 3 defensive team since the All-Star break. That's how big the Jimmy Butler acquisition was. All Draymond needed was a second guy to help him kind of anchor the defense. Obviously, Jimmy, a little bit more of a perimeter defender. He can guard in the paint too. You know, he's a very good quality defender. Draymond more the paint enforcer, if you will. But the two of them together enhances them very, very much defensively. And you don't, and you know that is it was it Pohl or whatever? I forget his name. The guy who was playing center for them. He had a good game. I don't know how he does against some of the better bigs in the league, but he's been serviceable, especially recently. I think the Warriors are a dark horse to get to the Western Conference Post. That's what it is. Yes, percent Post. I remember watching him last game. I was impressed. So yeah, the Warriors are my dark horse to get to the Western Conference Finals. I don't expect them to get to the NBA Finals. In fact, I think a lot of things have to go their way for them to get to the Western Conference Finals. But I'll put them as my dark horse. All right, so when it comes to, you know, my expectations for the Warriors, I think it's more of like a second round exit depending on the matchup, but I like them better than I like the Lakers. And Steph's playing great. You know, we got to talk about Steph as an older player. We give, like, LeBron gets a lot of love for being like the best old player ever. Well, what the hell about Steph, man? This guy's still scaring the hell out of defenses. He's still like demanding, like, everybody needs to pay attention to him on the perimeter. He's still scoring 50 plus points sometimes. He's still knocking down 8, 9, 10 threes some games. Are we going to pretend like he's not a great older player? We're going to pretend like he's not old? I'm pretty sure Steph's 37 years old. Have you ever seen a guy 37 years old still demanding that type of defensive attention? The amount of respect that players have for Curry, not by what they say. Respect is not what you say. Watch how they defend him. They're 30 feet away from the rim, and they're on him like he's got the ball already. I mean, he's off the ball, and they're like hugging him. They see him coming off of curls in action. They double. He gets the ball. He could see the rim. He might shoot it. They rush. They blitz. They try to get the ball out of his hand. He's 37 years old, and we're still having this conversation about Stephen Curry. He is one of the best older players I've ever seen. LeBron is too. I don't want the LeBron, jock sniffers to get upset. LeBron is an amazing old player. I'm not discounting that. We need to put Steph in that same conversation. I don't care that he's younger than LeBron. LeBron ain't doing what he's doing. In fact, when LeBron was in his prime, he wasn't doing this. The gravity, 25, 30 feet away from the rim to still command double teams? In what, his 17th season or something? 16th season? I've never seen anything like this. I saw Ray Allen still be an effective shooter at this age. But Ray Allen wasn't dropping 52 points in a game. Ray Allen didn't drop 50 plus points 3 times in the same season in season 16. He never did that. Ray Allen was as good of a shooter, he just wasn't doing the volume. This guy is still offensively carrying this team at 37. Just saying. All right, let's talk Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are currently, I think, 4th seed in the West. I think they have a better chance to go to the Western Conference Finals than the Lakers and the Warriors. And I'm going to tell you guys why. I think the fit for the guys on the roster is the best out of the teams I've discussed so far. Joker is the most adjustable player in the NBA. There's nothing he can't do. There's nothing he doesn't understand. There's nothing he hasn't seen before. He loves his teammates, respects his teammates, and his coach. He believes in their vision, their shared vision, their abilities. He's never disgruntled. He's never mad at his teammates. He clearly wants to win. He's a fierce competitor. He has all levels of offense. He's good with the ball. He's good off the ball. He's good at distributing, passing. His vision is crazy. His three-point shooting is reliable. His mid-range game is excellent. His post moves, his bag is very deep. He's good with his left hand. He's good with his right hand. His free throw shooting is very good. His scoring is off the charts. Defensively, he is underrated, folks. Joker is actually a good defender. He doesn't always play great defense, but he actually is a very good defender. I think sometimes what happens with Joker is he chooses not to defend on certain plays because he doesn't want to pick up the fouls. He knows how important it is that he stays in the game and doesn't go into foul trouble. So I think that's kind of self-preservation, because I've seen games where he makes incredible recovery blocks and he steps up and offers the secondary help defense. He's actually a really good defender. I think he's second in the league in steals or first in the league in steals, some kind of stat like that. And he blocks shots and he deflects shots and deflects passes and he redirects players that come into the paint. He's a big body. He can rebound. I think he's averaging 12 a game or something like that. He's a walking triple-double. His team is so much better when he's in the lineup. He has good help, though. He has a good roster. Jamal Murray is a very, very capable scorer. Michael Porter Jr. can get hot and can really impact games, and he's a willing defender. Christian Brown has come along nicely. Russell Westbrook, in his duties of what's expected of him, is having a really good year. And Aaron Gordon is a well-rounded NBA player. He's a good shooter. He's a good defender. He can rebound. He's a good teammate. He's selfless. He'll do whatever it takes to win. He's that type of player. And some of the other guys, night in, night out, can give you a little something. If Joker ends up winning the MVP, I'm okay with it. I'd like to see SGA win it, but Joker's clearly the best basketball player on the planet. And you know how much it bothers me to have to say that? That a slow, unassuming, unathletic guy is the best basketball player in the world. There's not an ounce of muscle on him. He doesn't look like Giannis. He's not the prototypical center look, massive and, bullying people. Nah, he's more of a finesse player, right? It's about the offensive polish. It's about the skills, right? Most centers are kind of bruisers or whatever, or, not as refined. He's a passing. He's actually sometimes I watch him, I'm like, man, is this guy pass first or is he shoot first? I can't tell. That's the perfect player. Think about that. I don't know if Joker is a pass first or shoot first player because he's so willing to defend and he makes incredible passes. And his passes are actually what makes his teammates look better. So he actually makes his teammates better. This is why the guy deserves MVP considerations. I already told you guys, if I had a vote, I'm voting for SGA. But I'm not mad if Joker wins it because he is like that. He is one of the most well-rounded players I've ever seen. He's criminally underrated on defense. He's an incredible offensive player. Offensively, what's his weakness? Defensively, I'll give it to you. Sometimes his defense isn't great. But when he has to play defense, he's more than capable, and he does. I think because of the pedigree and the history that these guys have together. Remember, this Denver team won the NBA Finals just a few years ago. The pedigree, along with Michael Malone, who is a very good coach, and just Joker having the world's best basketball player in the world, I like Denver to the Western Conference Finals more than the Lakers and even more than Golden State. I think the only thing that could really hinder the chances of Joker getting to the NBA Finals is if all of a sudden a guy like Christian Braun turns into a pumpkin. He's been having a great year. I hope he can keep that up through the postseason. Michael Porter Jr. in a 7-game series needs to have more than 1 or 2 good games. He needs to have 3 or 4 good games. Russell Westbrook needs to continue to be a plus, impacting the game positively. And the biggest X factor for the Nuggets, it's not Joker. Joker's going to be fine. Joker's going to be everything for that team. But it's Jamal Murray. Do we see playoff Jamal? Do we see the Jamal Murray that can drop 40? Do we see the Jamal that can drop 20 in a quarter? 20 in the fourth quarter kind of deal. Those kind of games will have to happen in the Western Conference playoffs if the Nuggets are going to get to the Western Conference Finals and get a trip to the finals. It's the expectation is that Joker will do his part. The expectation is that Joker is going to be great. Jamal Murray is so critical. In a 7-game series, Jamal Murray has to be a game changer on multiple occasions, closing those games when the Nuggets need to have a couple different looks where it can't just be Joker. Moments where Jamal can get to his spots, hit his shots, and give them offense and give them points when it's Joker needs a break. Can't play every minute. He'll play 40. He'll play 42 minutes. But he might have to give him a couple minutes rest each quarter. Let's be respectful of players' talents, and let's have expectations for all players. Jamal Murray gets paid like an all-star. I know he's not an all-star. He could be, but he's not. But man, if the Nuggets are going to make noise in the Western Conference, it's going to have to collectively be with those points that I made. I don't have worries about Joker. It's really about, can Jamal Murray level up and can the supporting cast continue to play well? Because I think they've done a nice job through the large duration of this year. All right, and to kind of drive home everything, I want to talk about these last 2 teams. All right, the Houston Rockets. Holy moly. Guys, the Houston Rockets are 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Houston Rockets are second in the Western Conference. Their home and away records are not that different. Their rankings with respect to like the NBA rankings, you're not going to find them like in any rankings that are, astronomical or earth-shattering. Like, what makes the Nuggets good is they're a very good offensive rebounding team, so they get second chances. What makes the Nuggets good? They're a good rebounding team. The Rockets have a good offensive rating, so they're a good offense. They have really good athletes. I think the emergence of Alperen Sengun is really, really important to their evolution. Jalen Green. Amen Thompson is fantastic. Dylan Brooks has become an offensive threat. Like, his shooting has improved dramatically. They're, they get their supporting cast, the guys from the bench, a couple guys, on a night in, night out basis, somebody will get you something. The Rockets are shooting, I think their 3-point percentage is like 9th ranked in the NBA. They're just a gritty, tough team. They're not going to beat themselves. They're well coached. They have very nice young talent. The Rockets, if they stay together as a core, are going to be a problem for the NBA for years. Ime Udoka is one of the best coaches in the league. He got this whole thing turned around. He got all these guys playing above what I think they should have been at this point. Amen Thompson is better than what I thought he was going to be. Jalen Green, same thing. I know a lot of people saw like a lot of potential in him early in his career a couple years ago. I always thought, like, yeah, he looks like he's going to be a good player, but can we get to the next level, right? I did not see Şengün. I did not see this coming. Steven Adams, a good piece on that team. Dylan Brooks, like, who saw this coming? He left the Grizzlies, like, what, you expect him to become a difference maker for the Houston Rockets? I didn't see that coming. This team is just tough. This team is getting hot at the right time. So I'm going to respect that. And I'm going to give the Houston Rockets one of the best chances, in my opinion, at getting to the Western Conference Finals. I think they are the second most likely to get to the Western Conference Finals. I think the first or best chance to get to the Western Conference Finals lies with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I didn't want to disrespect the Houston Rockets. They definitely belong in this conversation. I didn't want to disrespect the Nuggets and the Warriors. So the OKC Thunder have a very, very complete team. They're ranked in a lot of really important metrics very, very highly. They're number 3 in offensive rebounds, which means the OKC Thunder get the ball back for second chance opportunities, and a lot of times they're taking threes. Those can be backbreaking. That's how blowouts happen. You get a few additional offensive rebounds and hit threes off of them as the defense is scrambling, trying to figure out where their guy is, their defensive assignment, rotations, and all that. The OKC Thunder are 3rd in the NBA in offensive rebounds. They're number 7 in total rebounding. By the way, all these numbers are since the All-Star break, because I think that's important. The last couple months, how's this team going into the playoffs? All the numbers I described in today's podcast since the All-Star break. So we're talking about the last 2 months of basketball. The OKC Thunder have the highest ranking offense in the NBA. Their offensive rating, they're ranked number 1 since the All-Star break. Defensively, while they don't rank the highest since the All-Star break, over the course of the season, they are definitely the best defense in the league. Their perimeter defense, specifically where teams like to hang out, drop a bunch of threes, they're ferocious. Lou Dort, the Dorter Chamber. He will lock down your best player, your best scoring option that's not a center, right? That's not a power forward, not a big, right? If it's a small forward, if it's a shooting guard, even if it's a point guard, Lou Dort will lock it down. Obviously, we could have some concerns about, J-Dub, his health, Chet, his health. But this team has not, been without their guys for just a short while. They've been without their guys for extended time throughout the year. Chet's hardly played this year. I mean, J-Dub's been out for a while. I wonder if he's back yet. I'll have to check to see if he's been active. But he's missed time too. And then here's SGA. Through all of that, this dude deserves the MVP. The Oklahoma City Thunder have a plus 13 differential in scoring. They blow out teams. I think they had like a 10-game winning streak recently, 9 or 10 games. I think they have 9 wins in the last 10 after losing recently. I forget who they lost to. It was either Detroit or Orlando, I think. I forget. But the Thunder have the highest 3-point percentage since the All-Star break. The Thunder have the best offensive rating since the All-Star break. The Thunder are a top 7 rebounding team since All-Star break. And they're the number 3 offensive rebound team since the All-Star break. This is a consistent team. They've been doing this all year. I'm not about to just forget like this never happened. The Thunder don't get talked about. They don't get discussed because they're in OKC. It's not because they don't have the players. Their players are fantastic. The evolution of their team, they're coached impeccably. Their rotations are great. The guys that come off the bench are sometimes as good as the guys who start. The Thunder are good. They're my favorite to get to the Western Conference Finals. I don't care that they're young. Who cares? At some point, young players aren't young anymore. They become seasoned veterans. They go through things. They experience things. Yeah, they've been bounced out of the playoffs. Okay, We've moved on. It's a new season. SGA has clearly leveled up his leadership. The defense has clearly leveled up. Caruso and these guys, they are not going to be happy unless they get to the NBA Finals. And I guarantee you, if you ask any of those guys on that roster, they want to win the NBA Finals. They don't want to just get there. They don't just want to show up to the Western Conference Finals and call it a day. These guys want to win. Their leader is probably going to win the MVP. At least I hope he does. He's deserving. His numbers are fantastic. He contributes to their winning. He's crucial to their winning. He's available every game in a league where everybody is load managing. And you got people questioning the Thunder. And they have the full recipe. A stifling defense, a good offensive rebounding team, a good shooting team, a well-coached team, and they have the league's MVP, in my opinion. Why the hell wouldn't you take them to the Western Conference Finals? I have no idea. You're just going to say inexperience. Okay, good for you. You're just going to completely cut it off at the legs. They've never done it before, so I'm not going to pick them. But at some point, these teams emerge. And that year is likely this year for them. The Thunder can beat the Warriors in a series. The Thunder can beat the Nuggets in a series. The Thunder can beat in my opinion, the Thunder beat the Lakers in 5. Isn't that what they always do? Lakers in 5. The Thunder beat the Lakers in 5. That is out of respect for Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves. I give the Lakers one game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't care what round it is. The Thunder are damn good. That disrespect needs to stop. So people are they'll get it at some point. All right, so that's the Western Conference. All right, I want to talk the Eastern Conference. And these are the teams. I'm going to kind of go through them as, I'm going to go from 6-1 or 5-1, however you want to look at it. All right, the Indiana Pacers. I didn't see this coming. I've watched from afar. The only time I ever really watched the Pacers, unless if they were playing the Cavs. I wasn't really watching the Pacers much until recently. And the Indiana Pacers are actually pretty damn good. They've clinched a playoff spot. They are currently ranked 4th in the NBA, 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're 46-31. Their away record is not great, which is why I kind of rank them as the least likely of the big teams to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I like the Bucks better to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I don't really like their chances. Not without Dame. Right? But I really appreciate what Giannis does as a player and as just a tough, gritty guy. Maybe the Magic, if things kind of work out. The Magic are a really good defensive team, but offensively, can they score enough points to beat some of these top Eastern teams? The Indiana Pacers are 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. The Indiana Pacers are 8th in 3-point percentage since the All-Star break. The Indiana Pacers are 6th in offensive rating since the All-Star break. The Indiana Pacers are 7th ranked in offensive rebounds since the All-Star break. They have good qualities and good numbers since the All-Star break, and it's parlayed into a good record. I think their ceiling, though, is predicated around the fact that they have to beat a couple of really, really good teams in the East. So trying to get past Cleveland and trying to get past Boston and even trying to get past a team like the Pistons, I think it's going to be a tough task. How would the Pacers fare against the Knicks? They might do decent, actually. I actually think they could upset the Knicks, depending on where things shake out with the playoff seeding. But Tyrese Halliburton's really good. You know, Rick Carlisle's got his guys playing really good basketball. They've got a couple nice players. They've had a couple of guys that have been on the roster, you know, seasoned veterans. And, you know, the Pacers play with pace, right? They're like a fast team. They get up and down the floor. That doesn't translate well in the playoffs. That's why I kind of have them as like my least likely to make noise in the playoffs. I actually lean a little bit towards these guys. You know, the Pistons are crazy. The Pistons are so good. The Pistons are so disruptive. The Pistons have gone from worst to like a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference. Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley. These guys are just playing great basketball. The Pistons are really good. Every time they play the Cavs, I'm just like, damn, we got to play these guys. All right, looking at some of the unique qualities or characteristics of the Pistons. Some games, you'll see Tobias Harris play really, really well. Jaden Ivey's a nice player. Ronald Holland, I've seen him have some good games. Jalen Duren, I've seen him have good games. I used to only watch them when they played the Cavs. Now I'm watching them every chance I get. Malik Beasley is having like a really nice year shooting the ball. Cade, the emergence of Cade, he's just been amazing. And shout out to their coach, JD Bickerstaff, who was exiled from Cleveland. That actually worked out for Cleveland, but it also worked out for JD Bickerstaff. Man, the Pistons are building something there, aren't they? So good. And Azar Thompson. Nice player. There's other guys too. I've seen Dennis Schroeder be a nice piece for this team. Guys, the Pistons are a problem. Like, I'm one of the biggest Cavs fans, and I know the Pistons are a problem. I actually want to root for the Pistons. I just can't because of the Cavs. But if my Cavs weren't good and my Cavs weren't in the thick of things for a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals potentially, like, this is my team, I'd be a huge Pistons fan. I can't be a pure Pistons fan being a guy from Cleveland being a Cavs fan. But this is one of the best stories in basketball. And this is one of the better teams in basketball. Team concept. And they're tough. I've seen ejections because these guys don't just bend the knee to other teams. They're not scared of anybody. I like these guys. These are one of my favorite teams to watch. This is one of my favorite teams to root for when they're not playing the Cavs. So I like them better, actually, than I like the Pacers. You know, the record doesn't always tell the story. You know what I mean? So I know the Pacers have a better record than the Pistons, but it doesn't mean anything. All right, next. And I'm not going to talk about the Knicks. I'm just not a believer. Look, I know they're playing decent, and they're trying to survive the times without Jalen Brunson. But without Jalen Brunson, what's the discussion? Who are they going to beat in the playoffs? By the way, he's not back yet. I haven't seen him play in like a month since he injured his ankle against the Lakers. He's been out a while, maybe more than a month. I don't believe in Karl Anthony Towns. I like OG Anunoby. I like Josh Hart. I like some of those guys. Mikal Bridges, you know, they're good players. Karl Anthony Towns is not carrying you through the playoffs. So I'm not even, unless Jalen Brunson is back and healthy, they're not even worth discussing here. Don't be mad. All right, I want to talk Cavs. All right, so check this out. You guys know I'm a huge Cleveland fan. You know I'm a huge Cavs fan. The Cavs, since the All-Star break, have been a disappointment in my opinion. I've been really positive on all these teams I've been talking about. Out of all the teams I've talked about so far in the pod, the teams I'm down on the most are the Lakers and the Cavs. But there are some bright spots. The Cavs are the #1 offensive rebound team in the NBA since the All-Star break. That keeps them in games. Even when they're not shooting well, getting the second chance opportunities is huge. Back-breaking offensive rebounds. Shout out to Evan Mobley. Shout out to Jared Allen. Shout out to the other guys, right? For getting the second chance opportunities. Getting guys like Donovan Mitchell additional looks. Darius Garland getting additional looks. Stuff like that. The Cavs are number 5 in total rebounding since the All-Star break. See the trend? Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, really crucial parts to how this team wins. The Cavs' offensive rating since the NBA All-Star break, they're 3rd. And part of their offensive rating is the fact that they get so many second chance opportunities. The Cavs' defense since the All-Star break, 20th. That ain't going to get it done. They might be able to win their first round matchup with the NBA's 20th ranked defense. But the second round of the playoffs will be a point where if the Cavs are still playing 20th ranked NBA defense, they're going to have a hell of a time trying to beat that team. The 20th ranked defense in the NBA, Detroit will beat that. The Celtics will beat that. The Magic can beat that. The Bucks can beat that. A healthy Knicks team can beat that. The Celtics would beat the Cavs in 5 if the Cavs are playing 20th ranked defense. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. I truly mean that. Sincerely. If the Cavs go into the playoffs playing 20th ranked defense, they are losing to the Celtics in 5. They're losing to the Pistons in 7. I'm so serious. The Cavs defense has been a disappointment over the last couple of months. If you look at their record over the last couple of months, you've noticed that it's not as dominant as it was in the front half of the year. It's because of the defense. The Cavs in the front half of the year were like an 8th ranked defense, a 5th ranked defense for long stretches, for 10, 20 games at a time. The Cavs are ranked like 18th in 3-point shooting since the All-Star break. They were ranked like top 5 in the first half of the year. Look, I don't know, man. I'm not out on the Cavs. I'm not saying that the Cavs won't make it or can't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, Ty Jerome, whatever order you want to put these guys in, collectively the defense just has to be better. They have to close out better on the perimeters for the threes. They have to play the full 24 seconds defense and not give up those last second back-breaking threes because they didn't close out and make their full rotation in time. I've been seeing that too much. Some games they haven't even rebounded well defensively. Teams getting second chance opportunities. It's going to kill you. It's going to kill you in the playoffs. They do not look as dominant as they did in the playoffs, but I'm not going to bail on them now. They're clearly capable. They've got a couple weeks to kind of figure things out, kind of tie up some loose ends. But I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I believe in Evan Mobley. I believe in Darius Garland. I believe in DeAndre Hunter. And I believe in Ty Jerome. And he's been out for a couple of weeks. I haven't seen him playing. So maybe that kind of has impacted their ability to score more off the bench. Max Strus, I believe, needs to kind of have his role diminished a bit. I think a lot of his minutes need to permanently go to DeAndre Hunter. He just does more for you. I think DeAndre Hunter is a better overall defender. He's got better prototypical size. I think he moves his feet a little bit better. I think he's more capable of blocking shots than Max Strus. And I think offensively, DeAndre Hunter is a much more capable player. He's got a much more reliable 3-ball. He actually can get to his spots, on off the dribble. I think he's a more complete player. Max Strus cannot be playing 30 minutes a game in the playoffs. No way, no how. A lot of those minutes need to go to DeAndre Hunter. Don has to continue to be the guy and carry. Evan Mobley has to continue to consistently be the impact player on defense and offense. Continue to knock down the 3-ball, continue to get those rim rolls, all of those types of things. Yeah, the Cavs haven't looked as dominant as they did in the beginning of the year. Which takes me to the Celtics. And guys, this pains me to say. I think the Celtics are the most likely to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think the Celtics are the most likely to get to the NBA Finals out of the East. As much as I love my Cavs and I believe in my Cavs, the Celtics are just playing better basketball right now. Listen to some of these important metrics. You know how the Cavs were number 1 in offensive rebounds since the All-Star break? The Celtics are number 2. Mind you, they've had guys in and out of their lineup like all year. They're not ranked in the top 5 or even in the top 10 in total rebounding since the All-Star break, but they do have the offensive rebounding, and that's important because usually when the Celtics get the offensive rebound, it becomes a 3-point opportunity. The Celtics' offensive rating since the All-Star break is number 2. So their offense is clicking on all cylinders. OKC was number 1, the Celtics number 2, the Cavs number 3. Defensively, since the All-Star break, the Celtics are number 1 ranked in the league. Guys, this is not a glaze session for the Celtics. I just know what I know. The Celtics are the defending champions. They are returning essentially the same roster. Jaylen Brown is an NBA Finals MVP. Jason Tatum could have been the MVP. Peyton Pritchard is probably going to win Sixth Man of the Year. Derek White has become a complete basketball player. He is an incredible shot blocking guard, one of the best defenders, perimeter defenders in the NBA. Jason Tatum is a legitimate MVP candidate. He's not a more deserving one than Joker or SGA, but he's like a top 4, top 5 guy. It's like, it's him, it's Giannis, it's Donovan Mitchell. It's like that tier. And this team has a pedigree. They've won a finals. We can't discount these things. I really don't understand the Jason Tatum hate. I really don't. I don't get it. Anybody who watches the Celtics understands how important Derek White is. And people forget about Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. Even I've overlooked Drew Holiday. When I saw him play this year, he doesn't seem like he's as good as he's been in the past. To me, I feel like he's lost a step. Offensively, he doesn't really do much. He's kind of dishing the rock a little bit. But Kristaps Porzingis, he'll be the reason why they get past the Cavs. This team wants to take a lot of threes. This team is a good rebounding team. This team is an elite defensive team. The Celtics are a freaking problem. Out of all the teams in the NBA, the Celtics are the most likely to get to the NBA Finals. And it's not even close. The Celtics are the most complete team in the league. They're a proven champion with an MVP caliber star. They're defensively elite at all their positions. And they have well-defined roles. The only thing that's concerning about the Celtics is when the 3-ball doesn't fall, they don't stop. They're just like putting up the threes anyways. So you'll see them just do some stupid shit sometimes. I think Joe Mazzulla is actually a pretty good coach. I think their bench is actually decent. They are the most loaded roster in the NBA when it comes to elite talent. Derek White is real. Peyton Pritchard is excellent. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, need not question those guys. And Drew Holiday, a proven commodity that literally went to Boston and they instantly won a finals. He left Milwaukee where he won a finals and went to Boston and won a finals. So from a Cavs fan, I have to admit, because I can't look stupid because of my fandom, the Celtics are the most likely to get to the NBA Finals. And in my opinion, they'll be the favorite for the finals too. They're playing really, really good basketball. The Boston Celtics have won 9 of their last 10. Their away record is better than their home record. Boston is 32-7 away. They're 25-13 at home. That's a unique statistic. Guys, Boston is the favorite to win the NBA Finals. They're the favorite to get to the finals, all of that. it sucks. It sucks that I have to admit to that. All right, here's what I'm going to do for you guys. What I'm going to do is I want to open up the phone lines, if you will. And I'm going to just put it in the live chat. And then you guys can obviously come in and talk to me. Ask a question on my thoughts or opinions on something. Give me your take on certain things that we discussed in today's show. I mean, I guess we could open it up to any NBA topics. We could do that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for you guys. I'm going to see if I can kind of coordinate this. Let me see if I could do that. Here we go. All right, let's copy this. All right, I'm going to put it in the chat. And I'm going to try to coordinate this. So the Meet link is there. It's going to... I basically have to give you approval. I'm going to approve one person at a time. Give you a minute or two or whatever to kind of develop your idea. Give me your question, make your statements. If you just want to kind of discuss something, I want to give you guys the floor to do it. If you want to engage and ask me how I feel about certain things, I'll give you my honest opinions. I don't really know how to lie when it comes to sports. I really try to be objective. You may disagree or agree on certain things. Nobody's going to see everything the same way. But, yeah, I'd like to open up the calls, you know, see if you guys want to come in here. And it could be on anything NBA related, anything we discussed in today's show. It's up to you guys. Can't join, but watch out for trolls. It's okay. I can boot the trolls. It's all good. It's not a big deal. All right, let's see if I can admit our first one. All right, we're going to try this. We got Han Solo. What up, Han Solo? Hey, buddy. Absolutely. Go ahead. And actually, let's do this real quick. 1 second, real quick. Can you guys hear him in the live stream? I want to make sure he's heard. Go ahead. Make your statements.
Oh yeah, I'm just here to cape for Curry. I know Shea has been good all season, but their story wasn't too interesting. The Warriors coming from the 11th seed and then have the chance to make it to the 3rd seed. I believe if they get the 3rd seed, Steph should be the MVP this year, the dark horse MVP.
So he's not currently in the top 5 for MVP, if you look at the Kia MVP ladder. So you're saying he should be now kind of put into that top 5 for the MVP.
Yeah, if they win out, say they beat the Rockets tomorrow, and then after that they continue to win, and then they win all their games, I think Steph should win MVP this year.
All right, so talk to me about the duration of the season, right? They start at the end of October. They play through November and December and January and February and like the doldrums of the NBA season.
Yep.
Since Jimmy got there, I'm with you. Steph has been absolutely playing MVP level basketball. What do I do about those first 4 months?
I would say that's part of the roller coaster ride. I would say that's part of the roller coaster ride of the season that made the season more interesting. Instead of having what like the Rockets had, they had consistency, I guess. I mean, people expected the OKC Thunder to be who they are right now, but they really haven't proved anything. And then they do have a losing record against the Warriors without Jimmy Butler.
Interesting.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard you.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they have the only losing record the OKC has is against the Warriors, and that was without Jimmy Butler. So if I think if the Warriors get the third seed, they get that week off. I really feel like they have a chance to go all the way. I think they're built to beat the Celtics.
Damn. All right, so I was with you on everything. I love the concept of Steph Curry playing at an MVP level. Like I don't think that's crazy. He's playing MVP caliber hoops. But to say like they're built to beat the Celtics, let's just talk matchups, right? What do you do? What are you doing with KP?
With KP?
And, yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing with KP? What are you doing with Steph?
One of the softest big men that I've ever seen. KP does not back down anyone. He just shoots threes, and then Quentin Post is starting to play good defense. He's getting the rookie whistle.
Yeah.
But I feel like KP could match up with Chris Porzingis. Chris Porzingis does not back anyone down. He wants to sit out and do catch and shoot threes. That would be easy work for Quentin Post out there to defend. We have too many wings to throw at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And their weakness, Jimmy Butler, is their weakness.
Their weakness?
He's got their number.
I don't know,
really
man.
Think he can get
you got Jaylen Brown, you got Jason Tatum, you got Kristaps Porzingis, you have Derek White, who has emerged as an offensive weapon, a legitimate, like very reliable 3-point shooter. Peyton Pritchard is going to win Sixth Man of the Year. He has been one of the most reliable bench players the entire season. He has not had a bad stretch all year.
I see the numbers, but I really feel that the Warriors have to match up. They have the matchups to match every single guy on that lineup.
Wow, man. So I disagree with you on some of those things. Your points are really good. I don't think they're built to beat the Celtics. I think they would push the Celtics. I still like the Celtics in 6. Should they see them in the NBA Finals? You know what I mean? I think the fact numbers. and I think the reason is the dynamics of the Warriors are predicated around one guy. The offensive dynamics are predicated around one guy. The Celtics bring several pieces to the table offensively that can impact the game. So I'm going to lean towards the Celtics as having more dynamic options offensively. And then defensively, as good as the Warriors have been, you heard me give off the stats, right? The Warriors have been third ranked in defense since Jimmy got there.
Yep.
But number 1 is the Celtics. So their defense is better. Their offense is better. And if Steph has an off night, the Celtics are beating the Warriors by 30.
I've seen Steph beat them with less.
All right.
So with Jimmy Butler now being able to be thrown at a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, and we got Draymond, we got Moses Moody emerging as a defender.
Nice player. Kuminga is fantastic, by the way.
Kuminga,
very good.
There's just too many guys to throw at Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and they still have the same weaknesses. Driving left, they can't do it. Jason Tatum wants to shoot threes. It's the Warriors just got their number. It's
all right.
They got too many guys, too many wings.
Han Solo, my favorite out of the West to make it to the NBA Finals is the Thunder. One of my sleepers. It's Denver and Golden State. So I'm with you there.
Yep.
I just think it's going to be hell trying to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series in June. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
Hey, listen, you're a friend of the show, bro. You can call back anytime. I'm going to go ahead and take this other call. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Spence, what up?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Sorry. Hold on. All right. Sorry.
Talk to me, Spence. What do you want to discuss, bro?
The Cavs.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk Cavs, man.
Let's talk Cavs. Because as someone who watches a lot of games, as you probably know, as a fellow Cavs fan here in Cleveland, there's a lot of troubling with this team right now.
What do you see?
Well, of course, I agree with you on a couple of points. The defensive rebounding has not been great. They've been giving up a lot of second chance opportunities, especially if you go back and watch that game against Sacramento. I mean, it was just horrendous. That third quarter, you have Jared Allen and Mobley tipping out to hoping that the guards are there to pick up the ball.
I saw
but
that.
A lot of times, the guards aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, you gotta
just grab the rebound.
You coach this from a young age. When you want to rebound, you have to get it with two hands.
Exactly.
And squeeze it and possess it, and then you're pushing up the floor, you're getting it to your wings or whatever. Tips don't always work. Tips are last resort. You can't get the rebound, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. And it's really frustrating when you're watching them play, and they play really good defense for 15, 17 seconds on shot clock, and then, like you said, that last rotation, they miss it. They let up that corner.
All
three.
for nothing, right?
It's all for nothing.
All for nothing.
And I listen to the radio when I drive to school in the morning, and you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's fine. They had a really bad scheduling issue. It's back to back. They're tired." I don't care about that. I understand that, but scheduling happens for everybody. You're gonna play back to backs. You're gonna have a hard West Coast trip.
Yeah, I don't like the excuses either, and
exactly.
Every team is subjected to the same scheduling things.
And my biggest problem with them heading into the postseason is their bad starts.
You mean the start of games?
Okay. They get off. If you every time I've watched the Cavs, at least lately, before the All-Star break, they were a lot better. Let's go back to Thursday night against the Knicks on national television.
Yeah,
the first horrendously slow.
I would say the first quarter, and then actually into the second quarter, it was getting kind of rough. They closed out the second quarter, I think, much better, and then the third quarter was nice, and they stretched the lead, and I get it. Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Actually, what's a better example? The Pistons game. The last time they played the Pistons in Detroit.
Yeah,
that's a great. They fell behind early against a really good, scrappy Pistons team with a good. Now that knows who has been coached to play really good defense. JB has done a great job coming in there, implementing defensive coaching, and you can see it. They scrap for every board. And one thing that Pistons did really well against the Cavs is pressing them full court. Every time one of our guards got the ball, you could just see either Cade or Beasley or what's that one?
Was Ty Jerome out? I think he was out that game, right?
Was he out that game? Okay,
I think
just
so
in
too.
general, they get on our guards, and you can tell that it's really.
So where that comes from, Spencer?
Turnovers against the Magic too. They had that.
That's exactly where I was going.
3 in a row.
That's exactly where I was going. So they see the tape. Teams watched what Orlando did to us, and they said, "Okay, well, what did Orlando do that really threw the Cavs off?" Because the Magic were losing. The Magic, I think, were down double digits at one point.
They were.
They eliminated and reduced the lead completely, and erased the lead through pressure. They made life uncomfortable and unbearable for a guy like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and I'm not sure if Ty Jerome played that game. I think he did, but
he did.
After Ty Jerome went down with his injury, you now lost a guy who comes off the bench and scores for you and creates offense. Mm-hmm. He's a good decision maker, and he's a really effective player. So you're limited in what you could do now on your second line. So now that makes your job harder on Donovan Mitchell, who has to play more minutes, do more offensively. Darius Garland, I'd say offensively, he hasn't been playing as well as he did the first half of the year. So there's a little bit of that too.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, Spence, I think teams have watched the Cavs. I think the Cavs aren't as offensively efficient as they were to start the year. I think defensively they've fallen off a little bit. And we're starting to see certain guys, they're turning into pumpkins. Dean Wade, since he came back from injury, has done nothing, right? Sam Merrill has cooled off completely.
Oh, that hurts me.
But not all hope is lost. DeAndre Hunter is playing better.
Great.
And he was playing very good coming from Atlanta. So those minutes that Max Strus has been loaded up with, you probably have to pull back some of those minutes and just give him to DeAndre Hunter. I think what Kenny Atkinson is doing, though, because he's trying to play chess, he doesn't want to show his hand too early. He doesn't want to show everything to everybody that he wants to do in the playoffs.
True.
And I think part of that is making sure DeAndre Hunter is fresh. Because DeAndre Hunter is going to be tasked with defending the other team's best scorer that's not a big.
Yes.
So you're going to be seeing DeAndre Hunter guarding guys like Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
you're going to, especially Jason Tatum. And you're going to be seeing him on Cade and you're going to be and you're going to see Max Strus in stretches too. Just to be clear about this, Kenny Atkinson loves and trusts Max Strus.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is, if you want to know what a coach thinks of his players, see who's in at the end of the game. See who's playing in the last 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. You learn everything you need to know about who he trusts. I think DeAndre Hunter is one of those guys. Max Strus is still one of those guys, but I think the offense is best when DeAndre Hunter is in the game. I think he allows you to do a lot more.
I actually have a good question for you with that.
Mm-hmm.
In the final 5 minutes in a postseason game, do you want Allen or Strus? Do you want the shooting or do you want the big man in there?
I want the shooting. Because I can keep Mobley in the game as the center.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, so I don't have to have two centers. I mean, what team in the NBA requires you to have two centers in the game?
That's what I say. I always liked having, and they've tried it this year. They've put Allen out for the last 5 minutes, and they go Hunter, Mobley, Strus, and then the shooting is now you have 5 shooters. Everyone can shoot.
I think with certain matchups you can experiment. I think with certain matchups you could try different stuff. They've tried this zone defense throughout the season where they put Jared Allen at the top.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I've seen some really creative and unique things, some experimental stuff. And I'm not one to question an NBA coach. I don't know better than they do. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I know something they don't. But I mean, I have seen them experiment, and some stuff I think has not worked. But you don't know
it's not worked.
But you don't know it doesn't work until you try it. So I think that's kind of what he's been doing. Is he's been looking to add wrinkles. He's been trying to get guys into situations where you can kind of see what they can and can't do. And I think that's all kind of part of it. And you know, it's the journey of a long season. There have been some games where I'm just like, man, what a terrible game. Cavs could have had the win. Why the hell were they in that zone? Why did that rotation happen? Like, what's going on there? But you have to think to yourself as a fan, you trust in what Kenny Atkinson has done to this point. You don't bail on that now. This is the same guy that replaced J.D. Bickerstaff and completely turned everything around. Like, he's proving the GM correct.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you know, the roster decisions, and then with the coaching, he's showing. Is it Kobe Altman? Is that his name?
Yeah, Kobe Altman. That's correct.
Looks like a genius.
Yeah, he could win. He could win Executive of the Year just for that move. But
probably will. DeAndre Hunter, you know, those guys, like, he's made all the right calls. Like, they boosted the team even throughout the year.
All right, I'll end with two things. And those are two concerns I have as a fan going into the postseason. Number one is just what I was talking about, the slow starts. You can't fall behind 20 points in a postseason game and do the whole Avalanche thing and come back. Yes, it works in the regular season, but I'm sick and tired going down, especially in that one game against Boston, 22 points, and expect for you to come back. That's number one. And number two, you got to be more physical. I always say it. I think every year it happens, especially with Ty Jerome. He does that little delayed step in the lane with that floater. He loves to get to that floater. But in the postseason, they're going to allow guys to bump him a little bit more, and he's got to take that bump and finish that floater. That floater is one of his most used move. He goes to that delayed Euro step, slows down, and shoots that floater, and usually can draw contact. But in the postseason, they're going to let that contact go, and he's got to learn how to finish through that contact. Mobley's got to step up in the postseason. Garland, they all do. And until they do it, everyone's just going to say it. But those are the two big things they got to do to hopefully get past Boston and finally lift this LeBron is the only reason Cleveland's on the map. Because I would love to get that off our shoulders. It'd be nice to be known for being a good basketball team when he's not here.
One of your contemporaries said to me that Donovan Mitchell has the potential to be the greatest Cav ever.
If he wins a championship, yes.
Well, that was the discussion. It became, well, how many championships do you have to win to be the best Cav ever? And LeBron clearly is at the, you know, the pinnacle of Cavaliers basketball, but he has one championship, right?
Exactly.
The Cavs lost. They lost in the finals in 2007. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of times. And then in his second stint, you know, they went to the finals several times and ran into the Warriors and were able to win one championship, right? So if Donovan Mitchell, and it really is too early to have this conversation.
True.
He has to win one to be in the discussion.
Correct.
So in my estimation, if he wins the one, we could start talking about
Yes.
Donovan Mitchell as not just an all-time Cav, but like the all-time Cavalier. They, in my opinion, he'd have to win 1 or 2 rings for that even to be existing.
Well, if he wins 2, build the statue.
Yeah, and you could put it right where that old LeBron poster used to be off of
exactly.
off of
I
Ontario.
love the new poster. the core 4 on a big. I love that. I've always loved that.
Yeah. And the Cavs are a good team, and I think this team as a core is going to be together for a while because you look at the contracts and how things are going. I think what's going to happen is the Cavs have to make decisions on the supplemental pieces, right? What do you do with Dean Wade? What do you do with Isaac Okoro? What do you do with DeAndre Hunter? And Ty Jerome, I think eventually is going to want to get paid. Yeah, and Darius Garland, I think eventually is going to want to get paid. So like some of that becomes down the line kind of an issue. But thanks for the call, Spence. Appreciate you, man.
Yep, absolutely. Anytime.
Friend of the show, Spence. All right, folks, if there are any more calls, if anybody wants to call in, discuss anything hoops related in the NBA, any topics that we discussed, or if there's something separate, different, that something we didn't discuss, maybe I missed something. You know, maybe there's a team that you want me to discuss that I didn't. Like today, I didn't really talk about the Knicks. And, you know, I honestly believe that the Knicks are only as good as Jalen Brunson is in availability and his health. So I didn't really want to discuss them too much tonight. And I love some of their players. I think they're fantastic. I just know that their potential and their abilities to beat the Cavs or the Celtics is just not there. And the same thing with the Bucks. How do you lose Damian Lillard and then still expect to be competing in the Eastern Conference Finals or for the NBA Finals visit? I just don't see it. And shout out to all the people in the live chat that have been discussing. I see Colin there. He said Warriors could definitely make some noise in the postseason. Yeah, because I think defensively they're very good. It keeps them in games. And you have Steph Curry. Offensively, he's very dangerous, right? So they're definitely a legitimate threat. Spurzan, thank you for holding down moderator duties. The Goon was there for a second. Thanks, Spencer. Appreciate the call. Made you a mod too. Can I do that from here? Can I add the mods? Let me do that. A Goon's a mod. Han Solo, I appreciate you, man. I'm going to go ahead and make you a moderator as well. That was a really good call. So I want to respect that, and you guys can hold it down for me with mod duties. Okay. And D. Scott, if you're still here, thank you for, hanging out with us during the pod. I think I'm going to end the show at that. Thank you guys for a very successful show. It was a lot of fun. Again, I'm trying to do this weekly. I'm probably going to clip some of these segments out and make some videos. We got a comment here from Michael THM. He said, Bucks got 2-time midseason tournament champ Darvin Ham. What you mean they going to get the chip? See, now you're just trolling, bro. Now you're just trolling. Hey, thanks, Spurzan. Yeah, Spencer, thank you. Appreciate you guys. It was a great show. I think we'll leave it there. We'll catch you guys soon.